Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Wealth and Wellness Report podcast. I'm your host, Diego, and today we have an amazing guest, Maria Acosta. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is great. I'm so excited to talk to you, Maria, because you've had a career in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
You've been a realtor here in San Mateo County, as well as an escrow officer working at a title company. And a lot of our audience are up-and-coming new real estate professionals. They're investors, they're entrepreneurs, they're getting started within their respective businesses. Also, people that are moving out of the residential space and into the commercial space. So it would be awesome if you could tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got started in the game.
Well, who I am, I'm a little bit on the age level of my first digit is a 7. So we'll just kind of leave it at that. But most of my career, well, just to back up a little bit, I started off in a savings and loan as a teller. And I just saw the different places where money was being done because they did a lot of home loans then. And I thought, oh, wait a minute. So I talked to the manager of the savings and loan and asked him, you know what would it take to buy a real estate owned home? We have those here. I've seen them on the books.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes,
like an REO, you mean?
it was an REO, right?
Yeah.
Real estate owned. And they had them. They had a list of them. I said, yeah, I would like to buy one because at the time, renting here in San Mateo County. So he said, I don't know. He said, I really like you working here. What's it going to take to keep you here? I said, put me in touch with those people who take care of those REOs. And that's kind of where it started. That's
interesting.
Yeah, that's where I got the first home. It was in San Mateo, South Shoreview, I think it was called.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it was Shoreview.
Mm-hmm.
And so most of those years, I raised my 3 boys there, being a single parent at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was great. So in working at that institution,
Mm-hmm.
there was a lady who worked at a title company, an escrow company, actually. And she kept saying, you ever think about a career change? And I said, no, I like it here. I just got a home here. Everything was here. You know, they gave me the loan to buy the home. And so she goes, no, come and talk to us. I blew her off for about 6-8 months. And one day she said, you know, we're just having a little gathering at our office. She goes, why don't you come see what we do? And it piqued my interest. So
Yeah.
after purchasing the house and seeing what escrow really did, because I didn't know that, I went, okay.
Wow.
And so I went and talked to the manager. She gave me a little card that said what my salary was. And I said, when do I start? So that kind of started me on that path of being title and escrow. And so one of the reasons why I was there for 20 some odd years is because it gives you a little bit of financial security as a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you the insurance you need. It, you know, if you need to run home and take care of something at home, you have that flexibility of saying, I need to run home, because they always understood family first. Even though you work really hard, you put in a lot of hours, and your job is important, still, when you needed to go home, they said go. And then you're
Amazing.
back, even though you had to stay longer.
Yeah.
It was still the fact that they allowed you that flexibility of being able to take care of those things.
Which title company did you work at? Was it Chicago or Fidelity, or was it a?
Started off at Tycor Title. They were right there on
Okay.
Burlingame Avenue.
Yeah.
And then as we were sitting there, we watched the new sign go on the door that said Chicago Title.
Mm,
And so from there, I went to Fidelity. And so
cool.
that is where I worked until got into real estate.
So you ended up starting small at the title company and then moved up into management. How was the progression of that responsibility for you? Because, you know, a lot of folks, when you get into the escrow and title work on a real estate transaction, it is organized chaos.
Yes.
A lot of the times it starts off smooth, waters are nice and calm, and by the time file closes, everybody's hair is on fire. We're all worn and haggard, and we're ready for a break.
Mhm.
But you're doing them back to back to back to back to back. Tell us a little bit about your experience as a manager in that office.
Well, as a manager, all managers worked a desk. So you weren't just a manager. You worked a desk. You made sure that there was supplies in the coat closet. You
Mm,
made sure that everything ran right. You had everybody in that office that you needed to make sure that they were doing the right thing,
mm,
that they were documenting their files if there was a problem, and that they were documented correctly
mm,
and clearly
mhm.
in the event of a suit down the road, because you never know. And so what we were trained over time is to treat every single file as though it was going to court. And so with that mindset, all the files were done that way. So then it was no longer me needing to, check every file as it closed, because everybody knew that file is going to court. What is that judge going to see?
Mhm.
And it worked out really great at that point.
Wow.
But yeah, overall, it was a lot of work. But it still gave me that flexibility of having somebody watch the office while I went home to take care of something at home.
Yeah.
And that was the most important thing to me. I was a single parent with 3 boys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it needed my attention.
Were there any transactions or files that came onto your desk that were just unusual, borderline fraud? I'm sure there was probably one or two that you can remember that were just like, what the heck is this?
Well, there were a few that we ended up in talking to my supervisor. She said, we have to let this client go
Mm,
because they're doing too many things that are questionable.
mm-hmm.
And so we did, but throughout my whole career, there was only one. So it
Wow.
wasn't, yeah. And
Yeah.
and my specialty was doing different things. There was a time where um, the okay, the word is escaping me right now. When you um, you defer taxes for a different date, you do a
1031.
1031 tax deferred exchange. Oh my
Yes.
goodness,
Yes. Yes.
I did those.
My favorite.
Well, yeah, and that's what you do still when you've got income property, because you want to
Yes.
defer that tax for your heirs, not you.
Correct.
And so I was able to do that, and there was not too many escrow officers out there at that time
Mm,
that knew how to do it, because of the way the 1031, the IRS was structured.
mm-hmm.
They wanted to see things this way,
Mm-hmm.
and it made sense to nobody, but it made sense to me. And so I was able to kind of, it I got a lot of clients that way. There were some that said the only one who knows how to do that was me, so they all
Mm-hmm.
had to come to me, even though they may have not wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
but they had to, because
Wow.
there was only a handful of people, and this was when it first started. Oh my goodness, I don't even remember what year, but it was when 1031s were becoming more popular.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big deal. And so once I started to do that, my boss was just like, you're doing pretty good here. You've got a good following, on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
So for her to talk to her boss and say, you know what, yeah, this is where we want to bring you, because you're strong here. You have a good desk. You manage people well, and they like you.
Mm.
So that's kind of
So
what
how
took me.
did well, solving that problem for investors is massive. I think that's probably a huge reason why so many were drawn to your desk, is because you were handling that problem and solving that problem. And real estate is all about solving problems. It's also a team sport. So tell us a little bit about your transition from title and escrow into becoming a realtor or a sales person.
Well, one of the things that the escrow company did do for me was they would send me periodically to different seminars on how to deal with people, how
Mm,
to deal with your clients, and how to just manage an office.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how to better do it,
Mm-hmm.
how just to structure it, how to make people like you, whether they like you or not. They
Mm-hmm.
can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took that with me. I had a client that I had for years and years and years. And he ended up to be my former business partner because he said to me, "Have you ever thought about getting into real estate?" And I said, "You know, John," I said, "I have." I said, "But being a single parent, I needed insurance. I needed to have that
Stability
flexibility
and
of
flexibility.
dropping life and
Mm.
running home to make sure that the house was still not burning." So, and so he went, "Oh," he said, "Well, maybe not now." He said, "But
Mm.
think about it for the future." So we talked about it. I'm going to say for a couple of years before he finally said, "What do you think?"
Mm.
And I think my youngest son was 15, 16. The other two, were out, you know, discovering the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "You know, John," I said, "Yeah." I said, "Let's do it."
And
So
so John was a broker, real estate broker. He had an office.
he was with Remax at the
Okay,
time. He
cool.
was a broker and closed that shop, and he
Mm-hmm.
just went to work for Remax. So I joined him. We were business partners, and we were both at Remax in San Carlos.
Amazing.
But yeah, he was awesome. He was my client for years, so we were friends. He and his wife were just awesome in helping me get to that point where you're on a learning curve. Even
Yeah.
though I may have known real estate, I may have understood a lot of things. Title and escrow was my background,
Mm-hmm.
and I can learn quickly, which I did. But they just helped me relax with it.
Mm.
You already know it, Maria. Relax with it because I overcomplicate everything. I overthink it. To me, every little detail is important. Yeah, that little quarter teaspoon of salt makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to make sure that that quarter's there. So they helped me to relax that, it doesn't need to be perfect. And I was just like, "What? You sure?"
So you and John ended up starting San Carlos Remax office.
Oh, no,
Um,
no, we didn't start the office. It was already there. I
okay,
just joined him in his
and his
office.
team.
Correct.
Got you.
See, he wasn't a team before. He was alone. He was a single agent.
Oh,
So he
okay.
thought, let's be together.
Yeah.
We'll work together. He could go on vacation.
Yep.
I'm going to jump right in. I can go on vacation. He's going to jump right in. Our clients were our clients. They weren't mine. They weren't his, but
Mm.
they, so to speak, were.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, we took care of our clients, but we also interacted with each other's clients to make sure that they were comfortable. So if John needed to be somewhere else
Yeah.
and I was taking them, they didn't have to go to the title company to sign. They could just come to our office anytime you want
Love
to.
that.
If it was midnight and you could sign, that's where we were.
Cool.
So
So then you guys were doing dual agency with clients where you were both on the files, or were you just like, hey, I could use a hand. Can you pick up here? Or, I need somebody to, close tomorrow. Are you available? I'm in Hawaii kind of
a
thing.
little bit of both.
Okay.
Little
Cool.
bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so who were your clients predominantly? Like first time home buyers, investors, all the above?
I
Like,
was going to say they were all of the above.
cool.
Yeah.
Wow. And any commercial projects that you guys worked on?
We had residential licenses, so we
Mhm.
stayed on the residential side.
Okay.
Um,
Did you have partners in the commercial space? Because something that I'm learning a lot about being in the commercial side of things, a lot of my business comes from the residential side, where retail buyers on the residential side sometimes invest in commercial. And so I've partnered with residential realtors that are bringing me lead flow, which is cool.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one real estate commercial agent in the Remax office. And so if anything was commercial,
Mm-hmm.
we
It goes
sent
to
it to them.
cool.
Yeah.
Now looking back, what were some of the pivotal moments or deals that helped define your career path?
Let's see, something really specific. I'm going to say because of the training that I had early on as an escrow officer, just helped me to be patient with buyers,
Mm-hmm.
be patient with sellers, because sellers are insistent that their property is worth way more than it really is. And so, when you have that patience and you have that kindness and you
Mm.
you you deal with them not only in a professional level, but also just having that empathy for them
Mm-hmm.
because they're wrong, but you
Yeah.
don't tell them they're wrong.
Yeah.
You just kind of show them that they are,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll figure it out. And once they do, their attitude is different, and
Mm-hmm.
they respect you, and they're grateful for having you show them, even though it wasn't something that they originally wanted to see.
Yeah. I could imagine sellers who are primary homeowners that have held on to their homesteads for decades, raised their kids, had multiple pets, just this multi generational experience. The amount of emotions that are attached to that home don't make a lot of fiscal sense. So for me, and this one I think of immediately. I was telling you before we started, the home that we bought my mother in Houston, the sellers were retirees. They had lived there for nearly 50 years, but took care of the property. Like it was well kept. And there were a few things that we had to do, but they were so attached to their number. It literally like, we closed by the hair on our chinny chin chin because they would not provide us any credits. They would not handle any other repairs or any repairs other than maybe, a light bulb or a socket that needs to be grounded. It was really, really challenging. So when you have these emotional, like in your experience, when you have these emotional homesteaders that don't have any sense of the market or any insights into the market conditions, how do you kind of help them navigate through that experience as a fiduciary, as a realtor on the seller side?
Representing those sellers, you just um, you can sympathize with them, what they're going through.
Mm.
And so what you do is when you're able to sympathize with and have that as a subject, oh yeah, and you do that and you show that, excuse me, that same emotion because you do have them
Mm-hmm.
and you do understand. I had a home, I had children that I raised there, we had pets, so you understand what they're
Mm-hmm.
going through.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a transaction. This is their life you're talking about,
Yeah.
and that every dollar means something to them. So how are you going to relinquish that dollar?
Mm.
See? So you just kind of reason with that, let them talk, ask them their opinion,
Mm-hmm.
let them talk, and but truly listen.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that most people, because we're all human, we fail to do. We hear you, but
Mm-hmm.
we're not listening to you because as you're talking and as this situation is going on, I'm already formulating my next move. I'm not listening to you, but I hear you.
Yeah.
So when you really truly listen to what somebody's feeling and you take those feelings and you sympathize with them and you care for them and you show your patience, you will just get so far with those people that stick their heels in the sand.
Yeah. That I mean makes so much sense to me because the conventional way of doing real estate is so transactional and it's just like turn and burn. But when you're working with these types of clients, to have that, it's almost like a white glove approach where you're attentive, you're really working hard to solve their problem, to get the number that they're shooting for. That just that attentiveness is just like that touch is, I think, what separates a lot of men and women in the industry, because I think a lot of women have more of that empathetic, emotional connection to their clients than men do. just been my experience where I've seen women absolutely crush the game because they connect with their clients so much more effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what so going through multiple cycles in the real estate market here in the Bay Area,
Mm-hmm.
everything has gone up and down, but generally up over the years. What lessons have you learned about weathering market cycles as a realtor, but also, I think more importantly, because I want to get into this too, is your investment career, um, the booms, the busts, and everything in between?
Well, I think the most important thing is you're right. It goes up, it goes down. It's just like the stock market is no different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have to know when the high times are good, when it's a good time, save for the bad times. Because when the bad times come, and they will,
Mm-hmm.
that you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're ready. You've prepared for that. Now you're going to be okay. And I think that was the biggest part for me to make sure that I was okay. Because there were always good parts,
Mm.
right? Market's good. Everything's going up. There's people all over. Everybody's buying. They're selling. Yee. So then there comes the time where it flattens out.
Mm.
Now what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can't get any business. There's nothing in the pipeline. You've got to feed your children or whoever you have at home.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do now?
Yeah.
If you did not prepare for that. So I think preparedness was the biggest lesson that I learned throughout all of that, because when you're commission, paycheck doesn't come in. It just doesn't do that all by itself like it does when you're employed.
Mm.
You have to make it happen.
Yeah. So letting go of that stability of title and escrow, that insurance that you had said, and moving into more of a commission based income. Um, how was that emotionally for you? Did you already have, like, did you build up a nest egg that was big enough for you to make the transition? Because transitions like that, a lot of people who are watching, they're they're unwilling to take a step because of the uncertainty, because of the fear of what if I fail? Like, how was that transition for you?
I had a little bit of money saved because I figure by the time I stopped doing escrow,
Mm-hmm.
how long was it going to take me to start getting clients, start closing deals? How long was it going to take me? So I calculated expenses for 3 years. I
Mm.
figured I was going to give myself 3 years. If if I gave myself 3 years and I gave it everything I got, I knew I would not fail.
Mm-hmm.
Failure was not an option.
Mm.
I've got young ones at home. Well, I had one left,
Yeah.
but still, there was somebody at home that I needed to take care of.
Yeah.
So I gave myself that 3 years, and I said, I know what it's going to take. And so you work 7 days a week, you work 24/7, you're on, cell phones were becoming then, everybody had one. So it was just like connected.
Mm.
And so you don't miss a call, and you just make friends everywhere you go, and everybody loves you. And then your name gets out there.
Yeah.
And now everybody knows who you are. So it was those were my goals, and it was kind of successful because I did. I made sure that, and my business partner, he was really good about that
Mm-hmm.
too. He was really helpful about, educating me on, can't do that. I said, oh. So
So you had some guardrails with John.
right.
That's
Yeah.
so important. So in your experience, what really, so we talk about this homestead primary buyer, your ability to connect with your clients. In your experience, what really builds trust and long-term success in real estate?
The biggest thing is honesty. You need to be honest with your buyers, your sellers, but you can be honest delicately.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to blast them.
Mm.
If you do show kindness, you just need to be honest with them. And one of the things that you don't ever want to say is um, to be honest with you, because what that does is that tells that person that you're talking to is normally I lie, but I'm going to be honest with you now. Are they going to think that you're honest with them? No.
So counterintuitive.
Yeah. So you can say, truly, this is my feeling. Or truly, what is your feeling? Let me tell you what I think then. So using the words like, to be honest with you, things like that.
Here's the deal.
Here's the deal. So this is my thought. This is what I'm thinking. We've been working long enough to where I can share this with you. You want to speak differently than how most people speak, because you don't want to give them that feeling that they're not going to trust you. Because if you say, can I be honest with you? What do you think?
Noted.
What? You haven't been this whole time?
Yeah.
What? So speaking differently was really important. And that's how you learn. People will trust you because you give them something to trust. You're honest with them. This is going to be awkward. You can even start out with that. But I want to share with you this. You don't say, I want to be honest with you, because they're going to think you haven't been.
Yeah. Interesting. So as you were moving along with your career in San Carlos with John, were you investing in real estate at that time? And if not, when did you become an investor?
I became an investor when I moved to Idaho, because I retired here in 2003, moved to Idaho, and the real estate there was just so open. I mean, the potential for the properties there were so much different than here in California. I mean, the little 1,000 square foot, 5,000 square foot lot, 1,000 square foot house, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. They were selling for $500,000. I could buy 3 of those where I moved to.
Wow.
That same floor plan. They were 3 and 2s. They were 3 and 1s. The lot sizes were anywhere between 5,000 and 6,000 square feet.
So average size, suburban, residential.
Yes, that little residential areas. So, when I moved up there, I went, oh, guess what I can do?
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, Twin Falls, correct, in Idaho, is where you first started to invest?
No, it was Haley, Idaho.
Haley, Idaho, which is southern Idaho, correct?
No, that was actually north of Twin Falls. It's about 12 miles out of Sun Valley.
Okay. Got you. As investors, we try our best to invest in markets that are up and coming, where the puck is going, so to speak. Was that just like a happy coincidence that you found in Haley?
Yes.
Amazing. So it's not like you were researching and doing some due diligence.
No, I just fell right into it.
Fell right into it.
And the funny thing is, Diego, is I have fallen into most of things I've done. It's rare that I took a path and said, oh, I'm going to just follow this path. When I went to work for the savings and loan company, I went in there researching, not looking for a job or looking for anything. I was just doing research. I ended up getting a job. Then once I got in there, then I went, oh, real estate owned. How about if I get one of these? And then the marketing rep for the title company, she was at me for about a year before I went to go I went to go see that. And so and John came to me saying, hey, so these things aren't things that I pursued. They just kind of took me there. And I loved it. So I excelled.
So moving into the investment space, it sounds like getting into investments later on in your career changed kind of the scenery, so to speak, literally and figuratively. Tell us a little bit about your investments and some of the challenges or some of the learning that occurred when you started to get into some of these deals?
Well, there's two things when you start invest. Well, as a single person, there's a few things that under federal law you have to abide by, as opposed to local
Mm-hmm.
laws.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got 4 investment properties, it puts you on a different level of what you have to do and can and cannot do.
Mm.
So I always kept it under that. I always had 3. So if you came and said, you're not renting to me because of, you know, I have pink hair, that I can say no to you. I don't care if you have purple hair.
Mm.
So there were things that that didn't apply to me because I had under the HUD rules.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So and it wasn't until I was in Haley did I start looking at what are the rules. Okay. And because somebody told me, once you get into the rental market, you can't determine who you rent to. I said, yes, I can.
Mm.
And I'm going to find out how and why.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, because they don't apply to everybody.
Yeah.
They only apply to ones that have an excessive amount, that now you're in a different
Category.
level, different
Mm-hmm.
category of
Mm-hmm.
what the rules apply to you.
Yeah.
So if you have under a certain amount, you can rent to whomever you can leave it empty if you want to.
Did you work with a local pro, or were you finding these on your own on Zillow? Like how did you come across these deals?
I had a friend of mine, she was a realtor. In Ketchum, Idaho, there's a realtor for every person living
Wow.
in that whole area. So, I mean, we played golf together. So we were talking about it, and I asked her. So I said, Jean, what do you got going?
Mm.
Are there any good things out there? She goes, well, what are you looking for? So I told her, just something, renting to, a nice family, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not looking for, a teenager looking to party every, on weekends, finding beer cans all over the. So I said, no. I said, so looking for family residential areas.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of took me to some areas, and I'm going, no. And then found this one area that was just perfect for families, because there's a lot of service employees that are needed up there,
Mm-hmm.
that they have to travel there because there's no housing for them.
Mm.
So they have a lack of housing. They're starting to build up further up north, but in moving to Twin, I did eventually sell all those and picked up one house in Twin, which is
Mm-hmm.
again husband and wife, lovely couple.
Mm.
They pay their rent. I've never had trouble with renters because,
You become friends with them?
well, kind of, yeah, you do. And two, you get to know them.
Yeah.
They pay their rent on time, so you don't bother them. They don't bother you.
Mm-hmm.
And, call them up. How's the house? Anything you need done?
Mm.
And then they're grateful. Said, no. But the one thing that there's market rate. And then if you're a little bit under for somebody, because that they're
Good
reliable,
tenants.
good tenants,
Take care of the
you know
house.
that if they take care of their car, chances are the house is going to look similar. So
It's a good telltale sign.
and nowadays they do the credit report, they do the background checks, they do all of those.
Yeah.
They go online, they do that with Transamerica.
Yep.
And I just get a report, so I can either say yep or yeah, no.
We have in our teams, when we're looking for new prospective tenants, we make note if they take their shoes off when they look at the property. If they take their shoes off, then there's a mental note there. Okay, they could be a good fit. And it's little things like that. But I love the car note. That analogy, I think, is really, like, you pick up on these little details when you work with folks. So are you managing them all yourself, or?
I just have one now.
Okay.
Yeah. So
But
I have
prior you were still managing all of them on
Yeah.
your own. Did you have a team?
No, it was just me.
Okay.
There was nothing to do. You hire somebody to do the lawn.
Yeah.
So they come, they mow, they blow, they go.
Mm-hmm.
And, if something needed painted, I put on my painting hat, which I hated. I make such
I was
a
gonna
mess.
say, are you?
Oh my goodness.
You're
make
not
such a
like
mess.
fixing toilets. I mean, you got
Oh, no.
contractors, you got handy guys, right?
I did most of it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually pretty handy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But I did most of the, what I could. I don't like mowing the lawn, so I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
People mow the lawn for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I can do light electrical. I can do light plumbing. I don't know where I learned all that, but I do. And so and if not, there was a couple of contractors that I knew as friends that would just do it for me. So if I had a
Cool.
real problem,
Did any of these properties that you invested in needed upgrades or renovation, or did you buy them turnkey mostly?
pretty much, yeah,
Great.
pretty much.
Yeah.
There was not a lot that needed to be done.
Amazing.
Just little tweaky things, but you go in there, you do that, and it's a rental too. So
So for folks who are looking to invest in residential real estate, rental real estate, what are some tips or tricks that you might want to say?
upgraded electrical,
Mm-hmm.
upgraded plumbing,
Those two.
because those are the two things that when they go,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be expensive. Okay.
Makes sense.
You check and see the age of the furnace.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in an area where you have or need air conditioning,
Mm-hmm.
check the unit. When was the last time this was serviced?
Mm.
Did they put in a new compressor? Just find out just information like that,
Mm-hmm.
because those are the things that are going to cost you down the road.
So an inspection. Do a thorough inspection when you get one under contract.
Correct, but
Yeah.
just make sure the inspector is inspecting
Knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that he's inspecting what you need to know.
Yes.
Not just those pipes look really good. No, it's not what I want to hear.
Cool. Well, Maria, you've been doing this for a really long time, and we talked a little bit about health at the beginning
Yeah.
when you got here, and real estate is such it's a grind. Like you had mentioned earlier, 7 days a week, 24/7. Like you're going and you're going and you're going. How important is health in your career path? And for you, what sort of like strategies or what sort of things did you implement into your life to make sure that you were able to keep going for so many years, considering you had 3 boys, you're a single mother, you're working title, escrow, realtor, like it's amazing.
Well, when I was really young, I saw a lot of, I don't want to say sickness, but pain.
Mm.
People suffering
Mhm.
from different ailments. Some caused it themselves by doing certain things in their life. The other, not so much. They were struck with something and they had no control over that.
Mhm.
You get cancer, it's not like you did something to cause that, right? That just happened. But it was the other side of that, saying, if I take care of myself now, when I'm a little older,
Mhm.
okay, I want to be able to ride my bike, ski. I want to be able to hike 5 miles up a mountain. I want to play pickleball. I still want to play golf. I walk 18 holes with a cart. I know most people look at me thinking I'm crazy and they take their little, Flintstone carts around the golf course. But I want to be able to walk,
Yeah.
because right now I have a pretty good quality of life. I've got a pain here and there just because of, the age that I'm at today,
Mhm.
but not because it's something that I caused. I make sure that I eat well, I exercise,
Mhm.
I play. And when I play hard.
Mhm.
So those are
Love
the
it.
things that made a difference now that I've gotten to this point.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at longevity going, well, at least 10, 12 years. If I can do that and still do the things I'm doing today
Mhm.
and still do them like after that, I'm going to be a happy girl.
Amazing. We're kind of nearing the end. Generally, at the end of every episode, I like to do what's called a rapid fire round, where
Okay.
I'm going to ask you some quick questions, and they're generally like one-word answers or just real like off-the-cuff type stuff. Ready?
Sure.
Okay. The first property that you ever sold, whether it was an investment or part of your career as a realtor, was it smooth or stressful?
It was stressful because it was, it was my very first one, and I was the listing agent.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of responsibility. Title and escrow, which one is tougher?
Escrow.
Is it because you're having to deal with the money side of things, or is it why is it tougher?
You're dealing with people and you're dealing with the money. You're responsible.
Yeah. I know you moved out of San Mateo. Sounds like you're in lovely Idaho landscapes. Do you prefer our sunsets here or in Idaho?
50-50.
I thought you were going to say here for sure. Okay. Do you drink coffee to start your day?
Absolutely.
It's like I've had so many guests here, and every time I ask them that, it's like coffee or tea, and everybody's like coffee. Okay, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I'm going to say truly there has been a lot. I've
Mm.
I've been mentored by so many people throughout my path. I'm going to say that the one thing was honesty and patience.
Yeah, I love that. What is one word that describes the real estate industry today?
Stressful.
Great answer. So family barbecue or open house, where is Maria happiest?
Barbecue.
If you could do a barbecue at an open house, I think you'd generate a lot of activity. I like to go to open houses for the food. Okay, a little bit about legacy. What do you hope people remember most about you?
The qualities of honesty, kindness, friendliness, just my overall personality. That's what I would like to leave for people to remember.
Mhm.
Because things that you've done, remember, it's how you made
Yeah.
them feel.
Yeah, that's a good one. Cool. Maria, if you could leave our listeners with one final thought on building wealth and living well through real estate, what would it be?
Family first. Make sure you balance things out. It's going to be hectic. It's one way or another sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You get through it, but just enjoy the fact that your life is your life and don't give it away.
Love it. Well, thank you for being here, Maria. It's been a pleasure.
It has been. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Another episode of the Wealth and Wellness Report podcast. We'll see you on the next one.